Hello, I'm Betty Skelton and I'm a storyteller. Today I'd like to share with you a story about a crafty crofter and one of the Finn folk, a merman. Now, a merman is just like a human, except he has fins all over his body which can fold flat against his skin to make it look like he's wearing clothes. And he also possesses magic powers to create further illusions. Now, Kirsty and her father were sitting by the fire after supper. Kirsty was mending her father's socks, and her father was reading the newspaper. When the clock struck 10, her father said, "Well, Kirsty, I'm going to my bed. I'm just so tired. Got an early start in the morning." And Kirsty said, "I'm going to stay up a wee while longer. I'm nearly finished this sock, and then I'll go to my bed." So her father went over to the door and put the wooden bar across it to stop anyone coming in through the night. And off he went to bed. Well, Kirsty finished the sock and was just tidying the wool away when there was the sound of footsteps on the pebble path outside and a scraping at the door, and the handle was lifted, and as she watched, the bar to the door moved to the side out of the way, and in walked a tall, not quite handsome, dark-haired stranger with brooding eyes. And he came in and sat down by the fire and said, "Hello, Kirsty. I've been wanting to meet you for a wee while." Now, Kirsty had no idea who this was. She'd never seen him before in her life. But the custom in those days was that anyone, any stranger, could go to any door and expect to be given food, drink, shelter. So Kirsty offered him food, offered him something to drink, some tea, and he said, "No, I'd just like to sit by the fire and have a chat with you, get to know you better." Well, they sat and she answered his questions and they talked for quite some time. In fact, right until the first light of dawn appeared. And the stranger stood up, walked to the door and said, "I'll see you again, Kirsty." And off he went. Well, Kirsty was too anxious to go to her bed, and she sat on dozing by the fire till her father got up, not long after. And she told him what had happened, and he said, "Oh dear, I think maybe you've taken the fancy of one of the mermen. Leave it with me, and tonight I'll sit with you, and if he comes back, we'll see what we can do." So they went about their daily tasks, they completed all their chores, and that night after supper they sat by the fire. Kirsty's father had barred the door, but sure enough, footsteps on the pebbles outside, scraping at the door, the handle lifted, the bar lifted, and in came the tall, not quite handsome stranger. And he sat down by the fire and said, "Hello, Kirsty," with a smile on his face, and "So pleased to meet you," he said to the father. And he and the father talked for quite some time about the fishing, about the the crops, about the croft, about the weather, anything. And the time passed, and when it got to midnight, the crofter said, well, I'm getting really tired. I'm going to go to my bed, but before I go, you're a well-travelled man. Maybe you could help me with a bit of a problem I have. Out in the byre, I have a cow. And every night, a bull from the sea comes up from the shore and spends the night with my cow. And she is absolutely worn out. She stopped giving milk. Is there anything I can do to stop this from continuing? Oh, said the mareman. Well, yes, there is something you can do. If you cut some hair from the cow's tail and scrape the hoof and put the parings, the scrapings into a muslin cloth with the hair and tie it over the doorway, the sea bull won't be able to come in. Ah, said the crofter, I'll try that, thank you very much. And away he went to his bed, leaving Kirsty and the stranger to talk until the morning. And as the first lights of dawn appeared, the stranger got up, said, thank you, Kirsty, I'll see you again, and off he went. Well, Kirsty and her father went about their business of the day, and at night after supper, father put the bar across the door, cut some hair from Kirsty's head, clipped her fingernails, and tied both the hair and the fingernail clippings into a muslin cloth and tied it above the doorway. And they waited. Sure enough, when it was full dark, they could hear the footsteps on the pebbled path. They could hear the scraping at the door. They watched as the latch on the door lifted and the bar on the door lifted. But the door did not open. There was a curse, followed by more curses, and then a kind of mocking laugh as the mareman said, oh well, that'll teach me to open my mouth before I think of the consequences. And off he went with a big sigh. Kirsty and her father looked at each other and smiled quietly. Then they both went to bed and slept all the way through to the next morning. And Kirsty was never ever bothered by the mareman again. I hope you've enjoyed the story. Thank you very much for listening.